The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
Episode 500 has come and gone, and so has The Hangover. But don't you worry, don't you fear. Tonight is a new party, and we are rejoined by a god and also by a special guest host that I've wanted on the show for a long time. So, without further ado, welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome all you little zombies. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 501 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is the world's most dangerous podcast and is recorded in front of an undead studio audience here at Castle Wolfenstein, also at the Lair of La Swag within the Raven Chateau, and also at the Lair of the Gods. We are once again joined by Ares and Raven Shadow. We have a first-time guest co-host. Do you want to go ahead and do your thing? I know you love doing intros. You have something written down? You got some notes?
I will. Let me get my notes.
A little post-its?
I have little post-it notes. All right.
Oh, God.
What do you mean, oh, God?
Well, because you, the blind wonder, finds the smallest piece of paper to write your notes on.
You know what? I am a wonder. Thank you.
By the way, Aries, instead of saying, oh, God, you can just say, oh, me.
Oh, me. Yeah, that's weird during sex, though. I don't know.
Yeah, baby. Oh, me. Oh, me.
Oh, me.
Oh, me.
Give me your oh, me face.
Yeah. More like you owe me, motherfucker. She say.
Cocksucking motherfucker.
But no, I'm very proud to announce our special guest host. She is a marketing manager of arguably the greatest comic book store in New England. All right. Her interests include knowledge of art, Magic the Gathering, board games, film, music, comics, and the Gothic Underground. You know her from Rock and Shock. She's been a regular of the Cove, the Lucky Dog, and whatever it was called in other incarnations. So without further ado, let's give a big ups, Trick or Treat Radio welcome to Mina Rose.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and that was far more than I deserved, but thanks very much. I appreciate that. I wish I could say such nice things about you.
Well, it's just not possible.
I can think of a couple, but no.
Well,
So the trick is you can just insult him, and he just hears the good parts of the insults.
Yeah, you're a big idiot. He said I'm big. So, Mina, it is great to have you on the show. I know it definitely is probably a very long time coming. And for those that aren't aware, Mina has helped out Trick or Treat Radio quite a bit over the years, especially at Rock and Shock, doing even did some amazing promotion for us with all the little candy bags with the sort of like business card type things in there. So Mina has been super helpful to us over the years, and it's about time we get you on the show. So it is a pleasure, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Wolfie. It's I do all that stuff out of love. I mean, I am a marketing manager in the that's my day job, but helping you guys was just fun. If I could help you, that was a perk. I just there with you folks, and the energy of Rock and Shock, and the table's energy, just talking about all kinds of geeky. It was so much fun, and for me, that was just a way to be there, honestly. So it was, if I could help, least I could do.
hopefully there's an opportunity to do something like that again in the future. But I mean, who fucking knows, right? The world is crazy, but maybe it's returning back to normal. We'll see.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hope so. I really miss Rock and Shock. That was so much fun. It's a shame that we've been deprived of such awesomeness for far too long.
Yeah, no, definitely agreed. So it is a pleasure to have you on the show, and Mina is going to be joining us to discuss the film Hellbender, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. It is a Shudder exclusive from the Addams Family, not the Addams Family you know from TV, but the Addams Family is a family of creators. I mean, filmmakers, musicians, and we'll dive more into all that they encompass, but we'll be talking about Hellbender later. Let's see. Evil Corny says episode 500 is still in this. What is he saying? What do you mean, Corny? I'm looking to see if maybe I screwed something up. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So let me just see if it's the right one on the feed. Oh, it didn't update. Look at that. Thanks, Corny. I'm updating the feed right now as we speak. So if you're not watching live, you don't know. But Raven Shadow, I'm going to update the feed. Why don't you go ahead and shoot the shit? Raven Shadow, you going to see the Batman? You going to see the Batman in the theater?
The Batman. Probably. I'm probably going to end up having to go see it. I would like to see it at home because it's nearly 3.5 hours. But
no, it's 2 hours and 56 minutes or 58, whatever it is.
Ina, that sounds like fucking 3 hours, right?
You said 3.5 is what you said.
I don't know what I said.
It's almost 3 hours, but I mean, if it's good, then I'll watch all three.
Thank you, but it's definitely close to 3 hours, and yeah, I think Twilight's gonna kill it. I think he's great.
Please, are you gonna ever fucking stop that?
It's not. I'm not.
The dude was in a movie fucking 15 years ago. He's done a lot of shit since then.
He has. We enjoyed The Good Time. We
sure did.
We enjoyed the Lighthouse. He was in that.
Yep.
He was in that 9/11 movie, which I didn't see.
What's his name?
Robert Pattinson.
Okay. Then refer to him as that, not Twilight.
Right.
Fine. Robbie P.
I'm going to refer to you as Chumpy Wrestler. How about that? Something you did 20 years ago. How about that?
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
X-Pac wannabe.
So have you all seen Twilight? Like, please, just I want to find out for sure. Like, everyone confess. Have you ever seen Twilight?
You know what?
I've never seen any of them.
I did watch. So I watched them. I want to say towards the beginning of the pandemic. I'd never seen them or read the books or anything like that. And T-Dog, saw the movies when they came out and was kind of curious, like if they held up. So I was like, yeah, what the fuck? I'll watch it. So I did. I watched the first one, maybe the second. I don't remember. No, I think I did watch the first two. They weren't terrible. But it's not something I would go out of my way to watch. But they weren't as terrible as I'd been led to believe, I guess.
I would have to disagree. I tried.
Okay.
I tried watching it just a couple weeks ago, and I said, maybe I didn't give this a full chance, because the first time I saw it, I saw the third movie at a double feature at a drive-in, and I think I forget what the first movie was. I don't know. It wasn't a great night. I was on a date. I'm trying to remember that date. I mean, forget that date. But we were watching this second movie, and we almost fell asleep. And I'm like, is it just because we're tired, or is it bad? And so years later, fast forward to 2 weeks ago, it was on TV, and I tried watching it, but it is truly awful. The acting is terrible. the effects are weird, and
Ye-
it just doesn't hold up for me. I was like, I can't do it. I just can't do
I
it.
will agree the effects were very weird. I do remember them being like, I was just like, really, this is like a big budget movie at the time. Like, I do remember that. And the acting is definitely stilted. I guess it's more the overall package wasn't as terrible as I expected. And maybe when you go in with something with like absolute bottom of the barrel expectations, and it's not a complete piece of shit, that it's like, oh well, maybe that wasn't as bad.
Well, I mean, I think they were going more for like a soap opera, a vampire soap opera, so they were going for that type of acting.
Yeah, if that's what they went for, I mean, they nailed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I have seen every film of the franchise. It was different continuity, Johnny. All right, you do a trade off, and that. All right, we're gonna watch.
Why are you being defensive? No one is judging you for seeing the movies.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, there's two motherfuckers that are always judging me.
Did either of us say anything?
I wish you would say something. It's been 20-something years. I wish you would talk. No. I love you. I'm just having fun with you.
People wonder why I miss episodes.
I just like the best part of the franchise was that the family. Once again, I don't. And why would you go to high school? Like if you're fucking immortal, why would you keep going to high school? It's like Louis in Into the Vampire, who became a film critic. He just watched movies with sun in it.
Well, that's fair.
Like, why would you? They literally had like a wall full of all their like graduation stuff. And I mean, granted, I may have my little thing from 1994 because, well, I graduated despite.
You graduated?
I know, right? That's why I have it.
They let you?
Well, it helped. But why would you keep going to high school over and over again? But the best part of that franchise was that they would play baseball.
Oh my God, that was ridiculous.
And they would use their full powers and use like the thunder to be able to hide the crack of the bat. And it reminded me of the old X-Men comics when they would they would play sports with the no power rule, and then someone would get pissed off, and then Wolverine would snick the ball, and everyone would get pissed.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. So I like they played sports.
You wouldn't go back to high school with all your knowledge now to fuck with the kids?
I want to go back to like junior high and go to gym class. 'Cause I would fucking dominate basketball.
See, I think these characters in these movies went back to high school to toy with the humans. That was part of their little enjoyment. They were by far smarter than anyone around them. It was like playing with their pets.
This suddenly turned into a Twilight review, and I did not intend that.
You know what?
Yeah.
We've exhausted most other things we talk about. Why not fucking Twilight? I'll fucking talk about it. I've never even seen it.
Yeah.
Raven Shadow mentions Twilight every time Pattinson comes up, so why not, right?
You know who I'm talking about.
And we get annoyed.
Yeah. It's like when you say, when you talk about Kerry Russell, what do you call her again?
Oh, either Felicity or Noxzema.
Noxzema, yeah. Noxzema. Like everyone remembers her from Noxzema. I didn't even know she was in the Noxzema commercial.
I do. I bought a lot of that shit.
Corny says he'll always be Cedric Diggory to me. Talking about Pattinson from the Harry Potter films, right?
For me too, because I don't remember him in much else. But yeah, I've seen him as he was great as Cedric Diggory. I'm not Diggory. I think I almost said Dickory.
Hickory Dickory Dock.
So that's how I came to know him. But I mean, he's not a terrible actor. I think that was just a terrible movie. It didn't really showcase his acting in Twilight. But I think as the Batman, he looks like a pretty kick-ass Batman. I'll give him credit, because I mean, if the previews are anything like the movie, it looks like it's going to be good. I'm optimistic. Maybe I'm more optimistic than I should be, but it does look like it's going to be a decent flick. And I did read Mattson Tomlin, who is the screenplay writer, the writer for the Batman, and I read Batman the Imposter comic book series. Was a three issue miniseries, and that was decent. It was decent. I mean, was it groundbreaking? Maybe not. The artwork was great. The pacing was great. But I mean, I have no complaints really. It'll be interesting to see what they do with. Did I lose everybody?
No, I'm.
No. Yeah, I think it might have cut out for half sec, so I just was waiting to make sure you guys were still there. But okay. Corny also commented and said they ruined that Muse song for me in that baseball scene. Let's see. All right. So yeah, so we're going to talk about Hellbender, and the Batman's the big thing coming out tomorrow. Apparently I saw that theaters are going to be charging, I don't know if it's all theaters or just some theaters are charging more for Batman. So now like they're like, fuck yeah, we're going to make up for 2 years worth like of lost fucking revenue, and we're going to get it all back with Batman.
Though that's a fucking slippery slope if they start
Right.
doing some kind of dollar amount associated with films.
Well, they've been kind of toying around this idea for a long time. Different values for the movies, some lower budget, rom-com type of thing where you pay a lesser fee than the giant, Avengers blockbuster.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm just kind of perusing an article, and it says that AMC has reportedly chosen the film as the starting point to experiment with variable pricing. This means prices will change based on a film's demand. Viewers of the Batman will have to pay an extra $1.50 to see the film. So, I mean, $1.50 obviously is not that much, but when if you take a family of 4 or something like that, and it's going to add up. It is kind of shitty though to because why wouldn't you buy a ticket to go see another movie and then just fucking sneak into the Batman, right?
Well, right. I mean, the one thing some movies benefited from being sold out. Okay, so the big blockbuster sold out, and we want to see a flick. Let's go into another movie.
Well, there's like designated seating now, right? So like you could be potentially getting thrown out of another movie because you'd be sitting in someone's seat.
It's funny.
True. A lot of theaters, it's assigned seating, but I think they're probably going to have to put an usher at the door to the theaters now.
Yeah, they would
cost the theaters more money just to even do this.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And I also saw a bunch of people post this online, but apparently they're offering like a $27 collectible Batman like popcorn container or something.
Yeah, it's a giant fucking cowl where you could like take it off like the monkey brain scene in Temple of Doom, and it's all popcorn in a giant like
I
that.
want that.
Yeah, right. And that's
awesome.
I saw on Facebook today. Like, I don't even like Batman, but I feel I need this. But picture that Batman mask up here, but you could take it head off and just eat popcorn out of his skull.
Yeah. See, you keep on saying giant. I don't think it's giant. I think it's life size.
Well, fine, a life size.
Yeah.
Ravejoy, you could put it on. You could wear it.
I will wear that.
I could wear this anywhere.
I could wear this anywhere. Yeah, and just be like, I'm Captain Jiffy Pop.
Captain Jiffy Pop.
Yeah, that's what we're calling you from now on.
You charge $27 for popcorn anyways. You might as well get a Batman.
It's true.
Yeah, is it $27 for the container, or does that include popcorn? That's the thing I want to know. Like, is it with popcorn? It's $37, right?
But that's fucked up though to itemize films. I think that would push people away.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll try it and see how it goes. I mean, if people want to see it, they're going to go see it because it's a huge fucking tentpole film, and You can't see it on HBO Max, or at least not yet. So I do think it's going to be a huge. I think it's going to be the biggest opening weekend since the pandemic. That's just my guess, and I think a lot of other people are expecting that to be the case.
I don't know.
I don't think it's going to beat Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was with the Aries. I don't think so.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I want to actually see how much Spider-Man made for opening weekend.
Someone said it made almost Endgame money.
Now, do you guys recall when that came out? Was it in December? 'Cause it was before the Omicron spike, right?
I think it was in December. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Okay. That's right, because it was around your birthday, right, Raven Shadow?
Yeah.
Yeah. It dropped. Yeah, it dropped before the new year because that affected where it was going to go for streaming.
Yeah, I saw it Christmas Eve. To a very small theater.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm looking here. So that movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, in its first weekend was December 17th through December 29th. That was Friday through Sunday. It made $260 million, which is it's pretty good. For if that was like pre-pandemic, that would have been a disappointment. But post-pandemic, that's really good. So it says that it's still raking in the dough months later with an estimated total of $780 million. So it's not quite Avengers money, and it's not quite some of the other Marvel films before the pandemic, but for post-pandemic world, that's really good. I don't know. I think Batman might beat it. We'll see. It's been getting great reviews. I literally haven't seen a negative review about it yet, because a lot of press have seen it now, and they're releasing their their initial non-spoiler thoughts about it, and everyone was saying that I've seen anyways, have said it's like really fucking good, and it's the detective story that we've always needed from Batman, and that we're getting with this. Does that make you excited, Raven Shadow?
I am excited.
It's supposedly, someone put it really well. I can't remember exactly how they said it, but it is essentially like a noir, kind of like neo-noir kind of style with like David Fincher sort of like vibes,
And that could be fair. I am excited to see it. And obviously, this will probably be you get at least 3 pictures, and depending where they want to go with the fragmented DC cinematic universe, however they make things align post Flashpoint. But I gotta be honest, with what they're doing with these streaming services, I would much rather a ongoing Batman TV show than installments. At this point, I'd much rather see. I want to have do a live action Batman animated series. Have series progress. Bring in Robin, bring in Grayson. Have an issue where he's just in the Batcave and Alfred's, maybe giving him sandwiches and cleaning his wounds. Like
or giving him wounds and cleaning his sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And also that they keep doing origin stories. They keep restarting Batman. It would be nice to just expand, like Raven Shadow. Is it Raven Shadow? Keep tripping up on your name.
Thank you.
That's because I'm not used to using your radio name. I'll just say jackass. No, I'm kidding.
Well, she fits right in so far.
But it would be very nice to see just the world's built on and just expanded rather than keeps restarting. So, but we've seen TV shows with Batman. I'd like to see something a little bit more higher budget, maybe evolved.
Yeah, Batman 66 wasn't good enough for you, Raven Shadow?
No, it was Fisher Price, my first Dark Knight. Don't get me wrong, but even as a kid, I'm like, This is some bullshit. Like this is. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. I love Frank Gorshin. I love the tights. You know, I enjoy a bat pole as much as the next. You know, I like the idea of just a couple of dudes living in a house, turning a head down. You have a party in the basement. You get a man cave or a bat cave, I guess you'd call it. Sorry, wrong meaning. But
By the way, I didn't actually mean that.
Oh, you don't need to apologize.
you. But no, there's all the money. I mean, like, Win a Soldier, that's got some money behind it. The Disney Plus shows, Mandalorian has some dough behind it. Like, give me something. Give me a sequential Dark Knight.
I'm with you, but I the thing about that is I think that when you look, I mean, if let's use like wrestling analogies here, and like Batman's a main eventer, right? Batman is in the fucking main event every show. That's what he is. Like he should be the main event. And whereas something like I don't know what is on like Doom Patrol or Titans, these are not main event characters, you know? Raven Chow, go ahead.
And that's a very good point. Right. He's Taker, he's Brock Lesnar, he's The Rock, he's Stone Cold. But at what point are we going to still, and once again, it's still a gluttony of riches post the Schumacher world. I mean, there's been some great films. I mean, the various levels of I don't want to say success, but like I did not enjoy Dark Knight Rises, but that's a different conversation. But at what point is it going to be, oh, we're doing year one yet again? Begins had year one. They're having elements of year one in the Batman.
Yeah.
I guess we're doing Long Halloween again. Like, at what point are they going to still keep cherry picking the same stories and wrap it up in a new cowl?
Yeah, like I want to see some already established scenes with Batman and Catwoman where they're, you know, going at it together, you know.
Definitely.
yeah. Something like that.
Going at it like they were in the comic.
Yeah.
Not quite like that. Well, maybe. But maybe like do that almost wedding scene and maybe have that complexity of their relationship on screen because they keep starting from the beginning. And it'd be nice to really just be like, all right, let's watch the next episode. I want to know if they actually get married or not. And we all know what happened there. But I'd like to see that. You know?
That's why I thought the Affleck take was good. We saw an aging Dark Knight that had a lot of backstory. And I think I still think that he was probably the most comic accurate Batman that we've had cinematically thus far. I haven't seen Robert Pattinson Ares, star of Twilight. But
son of a bitch.
Robert Pattinson's watching this right now going like, that jerk.
That motherfucker. Knew I hate him. Bring Monster Zero back.
But yeah, I mean that's just what I think. I mean, in terms of like he is gonna rake in the dough. You know, like if they made a Titans movie, like they're not gonna expect to dominate the box office like right off the bat with that. That might have to be word of mouth. Where if something, you know, if it does really well, then you know maybe at that point they will make more money. But I mean, in terms of Batman, I mean, yeah, like I think that you hold off on that. You save those bullets for for the for the theater where you can make a ton of money, and that will help to supplement the other stuff that you want to do. You know, because technically they're not making money off of these shows. I mean, sure they get subscriptions from HBO Max, and there's a little bit of a payout there, but if you think about it, like if the Batman goes on to make like $1 billion, that's a huge victory for them. And there's no way that they could potentially get that sort of like return on investment back for a streaming show, you know?
Right. I mean, definitely the $26 fucking popcorn heads that fucking help.
Well, none of that money goes to Warner Brothers except for like licensing probably. So
fair, but now here then again too. So now we have if once again the Dark Knight is main event, right? But let's say, the first superhero, or at least part of the world's finest, is also main event. And how many shows have we seen of Superman? A character that was arguably much more difficult to do on television, but probably has had the most incarnations, for a power level. And even the current series on CW, Superman and Lois, not Lois and Clark, still has some money attached to it. It's funny how the Dark Knight is so protected by Warner Brothers.
Well, see, I think Superman is a easier character to do than Batman.
On television.
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think so too, honestly. Like,
I mean, because you're dealing with, camera trickery for a lot of what he does. I mean, you got to realize you had a better early version of Superman than you did of Batman on TV because of just what they could do with the character.
But you don't think 66 was more of a licensed parody?
I'm talking pre that. I'm talking George Reeves and whatever the serials were for Batman way back when.
Oh no, I know that. But wouldn't it be harder to have those kind of budgets and those effects for Superman? Granted, Lois and Clark played more of the man versus Superman, and same thing with Smallville. All very much successful. I just think I would love a run of to see a progression of the Dark Knight, maybe seeing villains come in, maybe getting the Robins, and even the dude that plays Batman on Titans. And you'll like this, Aries, Game of Thrones. What's his name? He plays.
Don't drop Game of Thrones. I've never seen Game of Thrones, so that means absolutely nothing to me.
Mina and Wolfie. He was the one that Khaleesi's like bodyguard. With the sword.
Oh, the actor's name I can't recall.
What was the character's name in the show? He was the Khaleesi.
Oh, he was
Jorah or something like that, right?
Oh dear God! All right, just go where you're going with this.
Yeah, go where you're going.
But he plays Bruce on the HBO Max Titan show, and so from what I've seen so far, we've not seen him in costume, but he channels a weird Adam West and has a level of serious.
Jorah Mormont was the character played by Ian Glenn.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
But his dialogue with Grayson is stuff that we've never seen cinematically.
Yeah, see, and I hated that. I did not like that Batman.
The dude in Titans?
Yes.
But Bruce was a dick to Dick back in the day.
Yeah, I realized that, and he was a dick in the show. I didn't care for that character.
Honestly, really? See, I mean, like, I didn't love him either, but I love the performance.
No, I didn't think it was a good performance. I thought it was very shallow.
Thank you.
I wish I could add, but I didn't see it, so I'm sorry. I'm behind on some of my TV watching. So.
Now, and I'm not saying an ongoing Batman show wouldn't be good. I'm saying it would be difficult. To portray Batman properly in an ongoing show would be very difficult and very costly. Far more costly than to do Superman.
So you think someone that can bench a planet is easier to do than a guy that wears a cape and can just fight in shadows?
Yes. Because it is far easier to CGI a guy benching a planet than it is to have someone doing human type abilities that are to the extreme of the human ability.
I don't know. I don't know. I can see both sides of this because, yes, I think the effects are really an issue so much, but you're right. I mean, you would have to have someone continuously be athletic on a Batman show. Like you're always doing stunts.
It's all about fight choreography, and everything needs to be spot on, 100%.
So you need someone
What?
young so that they can
What's the moan?
Black lung moan. That's what it is.
Yeah. What's the? What?
dude.
Use your words.
I'm gonna use words and maybe some bad words. I don't want to do that because you've been away for 2 weeks and I miss you. I mean, I missed you until this episode. And now
You missed me when I wasn't around yelling at you.
Yes. Now I miss Monster Zero.
All right, go ahead. This is a film discussion. We're discussing films.
Fine. So, fine. So I mean, the choreography in Daredevil, that was pretty shitty, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Stop. No, are you being serious now?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we talking the movie or the show? I'm sorry. I went the movie. I went Affleck movie.
Oh, I thought you meant the dude who
I'm sorry. My mind instantly went Affleck movie. The show was good. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I thought you meant the dude who played him in the Trial of the Incredible Hulk TV movie.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry. For some reason I went Affleck movie. But yes, no. The Daredevil TV show, the choreography was very good.
Right. I mean, come on. D'Onofrio. From what we're seeing about Moon Knight, we're gonna get, and I don't agree that the same character, but we're gonna get close to a weird mummy live action Batman on TV. I just
get a lot of CGI from what I've gathered.
Yeah, but then you get a show like Supergirl, right? Who maybe is not for me, but that show had some of the most powerful characters, like comics. They had regular cast of Supergirl, Martian Manhunter. This is fucking super nerdy. I'm sorry, Mina. Largand, who was a fucking Daxamite, who has the same powers.
But all this was all CGI.
Yeah, but they literally had like 45 minutes of their show, and they would use their powers for a second and then go to commercial break. They really couldn't do their powers. But anyone can kick somebody for 20 minutes.
I'm sorry, it is. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just saw Bob Odenkirk kick ass in the movie Nobody, and that made me feel like anyone of any age could pretty much look like they could kick some butt.
Brian Pollan made fucking Monster Zero look like fucking The Raid, and that's not the same thing.
I don't know about that.
Maybe not. Maybe
he made him look capable.
Capable. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting outrageous, Johnny.
Nothing against Brian Pollan, but yeah.
Capable.
Tone it down a little bit.
Getting excited.
But what you're saying with the Supergirl thing is they're showing, superpowers and then going to commercial. That's what the show is. So it's CGI and then commercial. You're not going to do that with Batman. And Batman is more than just the Daredevil fights. You're going to have the swinging and the gadgets and all this other stuff that goes along with Batman.
I think Aries makes a good point, and it's not like Superman's constantly doing jump kicks and when you've got Superman on screen, So I can see what he's saying.
I mean, for Batman to do something super impressive, he's going to do a triple backflip and hit 3 people in the head. Superman has to stand there and take a bullet.
Well, that's why they've got stunt doubles. Throw in some capable young guy in there. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's far easier to show Superman taking a bullet than it is to show Batman doing a triple spin kick.
I gotta say the Nano, my brother.
I don't know. My background's animation, and because that's my degree, and let me tell you, it's a lot of work animating a bullet going through Superman. That's hours of work.
And she has a degree.
It's much easier to just get a double and do it in one take, or 2 or 3 takes, and that saved you paying one guy $60 to $100 an hour for a whole week. So a whole week's worth of work there. So I don't know about that, but it could also mean that paying the actor to do it would be more expensive than hiring someone to CGI. But I don't know. There's ways around it, but I'm not sure if one is easier than the other. It could just be the same.
Just shoot some homeless guy.
Jeez. So it's funny. I'm hearing that Ben Affleck was the best Batman, but the worst Daredevil. Is that true? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I think the Daredevil from Trial of the Incredible Hulk was worse.
Oh, okay.
The great Rex Smith, I believe. He was a TV Street Hawk, and also was in Pirates of Penzance.
So
I think you're right. I think that is consensus, though.
yeah. Corny says we have Star Wars shows now. I can imagine a big budget Batman series.
Thank you.
The thing is, we have Star Wars series, but none of them are anchored by. Well, until Obi-Wan comes in, in just a couple months. Really, there's no major characters that are headlining a show. Don't get me wrong, I fucking love Boba Fett, but he's not one of the main eventers, right? He was in the original trilogy for 6 minutes and 32 seconds, Luke Skywalker doesn't have his own show. He has appeared, but really right now they're not going for those main event Star Wars characters, which makes sense because, they'd have to recast or do, tons of deep fake and whatever they're going to do. But, so I think, I don't know. I could see they could definitely do a Batman TV series and make it good. But I think the thing is, why would you when there's still the ability to make money on the table in terms of, streaming versus theatrical? So that's kind of where I'm at, where people will absolutely pay to see Batman and they might not pay to see Booster and Beetle on the big screen. You know what I mean?
And also, I think part of what the problem is that what would make a good Batman ongoing TV show is not what the masses want from Batman. You would end up with more of a detective show.
Right. And
even though this movie is saying it's more noir detective, I've seen plenty of explosions and bullets in the trailers to know that it isn't 100% detective. It is, it is the more of the mainstream Batman. And that's not what the masses don't want. Detective Batman. They don't want Sherlock Holmes.
The masses don't know what they want, because if they did, they'd be fucking writers. If they give it to them, they will enjoy it, and if it's good. Like, imagine an episode of Batman is completely in a trap by like the Joker, and he's stuck and the bomb is ticking, and he has to like almost do it
use
like
his shark repellent.
Yeah, he has shark repellent, but he doesn't help in a fucking warehouse. If only there were sharks in the warehouse. But like, people don't know what they want until they're given it to them.
But they were given pieces of that in the Nolan verse, and no one talks about how great it was that he acted like a detective. I have never heard one person praise the detective work of Batman in the Nolan verse.
Because there wasn't any detective work. He had amazing.
There was, and it's forgotten about because everyone wants the Flash, not the Flash, the character, the Flash and the pizzazz.
I want Wally West. If Wally West was a Nolan movie, that'd be a fucking movie. Put him in Dark Knight. But no, but he didn't. He still has everyone fucking helping him. I want Bruce to be fucking Bruce. I love Lucius.
But you know what? In reality, what is going more and more with these, even in the comics, but more so in the movies, is it's more reality based, and they realize that one person can't do all this, so they need their Alfred, their Lucius Fox, they need their Oracle, they need their voice in their earpiece.
So it's funny. So that argument is making Batman less special.
Yes,
because he doesn't have a lot of friends. Daredevil.
You know who doesn't solve crimes like Batman? Daredevil.
No, he stops.
Daredevil uses what he learns in the court system. So he has friends. They just don't know they're helping him.
Yeah, he's got a really good assistant and Foggy.
Yeah.
But
he has the whole court system that tells him who he needs to avenge.
Bruce can buy a fucking court system. He could literally buy a court. I mean, Wayne was a doctor. I'm not sure what his investments are. But like, he's got more than Bob Kraft money, that's for sure. But like, I want Bruce to fucking be able to I don't know, man. All these things almost seem to arguably make Batman less special.
Batman was a detective in the animated series, and I thought that was pretty interesting. I mean, there was a good
Yeah.
balance of it. You know, they didn't do
Agreed.
too much, but just enough to lead him to the, you know, you know, unraveling things slowly, but not too slowly. Like it carried you on to keep watching the episodes, and they didn't just focus on him being like, he's not over there like Sherlock with like, a magnifying lens, like, like, let me look at these footsteps, but no, but he was, he'd use all his like high grade tech, pull up some screens and like, just like, all right, here we go. I have this and this and this. And then pretty much he was on the trail, and, towards the end, like he's, big reveal, he figures it out, whatever. But then they like parallel that with, backstory on the villains, and they show you that part of it. So they always show you two sides. They don't just give you a whole like sleuthing episode, So, and that's what carries Batman, I think. It's like because the characters in Batman are so interesting that they tell their own story. So it's never been just about Batman. Like I feel like Batman is Batman because of all these other characters. And if it were just about Batman, it would be a really boring series. I'd be like, what is this crap?
And there's a reason why in the comics there is this whole Batman family, probably the largest collection of heroes that work together.
Yeah, I agreed.
Raven Shadow, you care to retort?
But I feel like I need to make my argument. Like,
how am I making your argument?
Very well, thank you.
Okay, please explain.
So if the animated series is held in remarkable high regard, right? Arguably, probably of all the Bruce Timm verse, the animated series is probably considered the greatest, comic adaptation, probably, and even the greatest version of Batman for some folks. So imagine something at that level and some of those stories, but do that live action. Why is that held in such a regard? Where
because you're getting into the limitations by going live action. That is my argument. That going live action, you can't do what they do with the animation or having the superpowers of Superman.
We are having Avengers spin-offs all the fucking time. We saw Boba Fett ride a Rancor.
Yeah, and that didn't look great.
Well, you know what? Look,
you know what? And I'm sorry. You know what? Sorry, because we've never really discussed the Boba Fett on this show. I'm sure Johnny's discussed it on this other show to nauseum. So I don't want to dive too much into this. But a lot of the special effects in the Boba Fett bothered me. Like it was flawed to me. It was very rushed.
I have to disagree. I think the effects.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not saying everything. I'll give you an example. The hipsters on their little scooters, those things had no give. They did not appear to hover. They had zero give.
They didn't appear to hover. Like did
hover? They were supposed to hover.
They did.
But when they went over bumps or got on and off, no give. They didn't bounce. They didn't hover. You could tell that they were a fixed craft. It's things like that.
Well, I mean, Rancors don't really exist, Aries.
Says you.
Yes.
But I mean, well, this is just like I said. It's not throughout the whole thing. There were little things that I feel were rushed, where they, because of what it was, because it was a series, they needed to get it out. They were like, okay, we can't animate a bounce into this craft to get it out there. And it's things like that bother me in shows that rely on special effects.
But then fine, and you can go back to the speeder bikes coming down in the Robert Rodriguez episode?
Yeah, the streets of Mos Espa.
Yeah, I mean, special effects, give or take, but not for nothing.
That was the worst episode of the series, and that chase was like the worst thing of the whole series. That street, the chase through the streets of Mos Espa was terrible.
The Power Ranger one, when they had all the different colored bikes.
Well, I mean, they're not Power Rangers, but yes, that's what we're referring to when they're chasing the Mach Shize's Major Domo.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was probably, the cheesiest thing in that in that episode and in the series even. But forgivable though, because so much of it was just so good. And it was a little cheesy. Yeah.
But put that up against, I mean, I love fucking Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers as a kid. But put that up against nowadays stuff. I mean, technology is going to change. But I mean, like the fucking boys. There are shows that are doing power levels that are really off the charts. They fucking slam to that whale. Fucking diabolical, like Butcher would say. Like they literally had like a fucking dude with a giant whale heart. And it was gross because a boat hit a whale. And Homelander destroys a plane. Like there's money there. I just maybe we're talking about this. Maybe we should put a pin on this. But like I just find it hard pressed to say that it's easier to do the Man of Steel than it is the Dark Knight.
Well, because all your arguments are superpowered people.
Yeah, I'm fucking silly, huh?
Yes, because I'm saying it's easier to do a superpowered show than it is for a human.
Mina.
They've been doing real people shows forever.
Yeah, real people doing real things,
but
Raven
the
Shadow.
Batman.
Yeah.
The Batman. To do a real good interpretation of the Batman. That is what I'm saying. It's very difficult because either you're going to have a detective version, which no one wants to watch, or you need this super violent show that just takes too much choreography and time to do well anyway.
I think if you just work the angles, you can get away with a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do and make it convincing. And
that's what Christopher Nolan did, and I love Christopher Nolan as a director, but the fight scenes in his trilogy were pretty bad.
Right.
The choreography wasn't great. It was a lot of close-ups of like fists flying close to faces, and if you're looking at that for like fights. It's not. You're not going to look there. So he kind of worked with what he had without having like a huge amount of choreography involved. So, and they ended up being good movies for the most part. So,
I think if you got good story, you can carry it, and you can give some of that fighting as long as you've got a couple. If you get up to the climax of these story arcs and you have at least one really good fight scene, I think people can look past.
I would agree with that. One like big action set piece that really is impressive. I think you can definitely get away with some of the other ones as well. So yeah, I'm kind of on board with that. But so Raven Chow, you said you wanted to put a pin in it. Is it possible to put a pin in a grenade once you've already pulled the pin?
I don't know, Johnny. I never served. I'm too funny to carry a gun.
And yes, it is.
It is possible?
Yeah, as long as you didn't release the hammer.
Oh, okay. Well, really, Raven Shadow has never released the hammer in his life, so. Or dropped the hammer in that regard.
Yeah.
All right, so let's wind this down, and we're gonna take a break and head to a commercial, and we'll be back to talk about Hellbender. But before we do that, I want to talk about how folks can support the show. There's a few ways you can do so. You can head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/trickortreatradio, and there you can join for as little as $2 a month and help support the show. We do Patreon exclusive episodes every month, and those are exclusive to Patreon. They're not going to be released on the feed, or we have no plans to release them any other way other than Patreon. So the way to hear those is to sign up. And as I mentioned, for as little as $2 a month, you can join. We also have some other perks. You can get access to the Discord server. You can do a Patreon takeover like our buddy Carlitos did last month. And you can also get access to the video feeds of the exclusive episodes. And also we have the blackout tapes, and we also have the Monsterpiece Theater Movie Club, all sorts of stuff. So give it a look and consider supporting. We'd appreciate it. Also, you can support us by going to trickortreatradio.com and look for the Amazon logo. You scroll down on the front page, find that logo, you click on it, and it's or tap, I guess, if you're on a smartphone or a tablet, and it's going to bring you to Amazon. It's going to input our affiliate link. Everything that they purchase in that session, Raven Shadow, gets attributed to us, and it doesn't cost them any extra.
But it's another way to help keep the lights on.
That's right. So you guys can go ahead and use our Amazon link, and you're buying shit on Amazon anyways. Just click our link. We get a little cut. And finally, on trickortreatradio.com, we also have the digital store. You can buy greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio volumes 1 through 3. And if you guys have, we've been doing the show now. This is the 501st episode. And, we obviously have more than that. We have the Raven Shadow episode 0. We got the Halloween shows. We got the year-end shows. I think we're up around 520, 525. But, you haven't heard all the episodes. You can go back and listen to the greatest hits. You can hear the highlights, the lowlights, the midlights, everything in between, the arguments, the songs, the interviews, lots of stuff on there. If you're really missing Monster Zero, there's a lot of him on those, so give him a look. And check it out. They're $3 a pop, and each one is roughly 90 plus minutes, I think. So give those a look and help support the show through one of those 3 or all 3 of those ways. All right, Raven Shadow. So you sit down. You got one movie to watch this week. You didn't have any extra credit to do. You didn't have a film that was made in 1984 that got a release in 2021 to watch. So what did you do to prepare to watch Hellbender?
Oh, I fucking took some advice, Johnny, from one of our Patreon supporters. That's right, our buddy Linus from England.
Yeah.
Wales. On his top 13 films of last year, we watched a movie called Dinner in America. And
was it anything like Your Dinners in America?
No, yeah, no, like fucking Hot Pockets and Uncrustables. Or,
yeah, that's what I was wondering. Sitting around at like a TV tray, watching TV on the couch, eating Uncrustables and chicken nugs.
Yeah, and then I mean, when the show's over, that's what I'm doing. It's me and Ollie are doing.
Pausing the movie to go do a few things and come back, 2 hours later and pick up where you left off, right?
But it was a good movie, and I Coney, sent me a message of what are you doing, and I think I said, I'm watching like Diner in America. He did a heart, and I'm like, no, it's not the right title. It's Dinner in America, but it's a really good flick, and it's kind of like
flick.
It's a flim flick, and I don't know who directed it, but it reminds me of like that white guy who directs stuff.
White guy that directs stuff. Oh man, like. Yeah. It's got to be either like this guy or that guy. I mean, like there's only like 2 possible options.
Come on,
here.
the one who always wears the pants.
Oh, Steven Spielberg. No. Oh, of course.
No, the white guy, Wes Anderson. Who does? He's he's Caucasian.
So Dinner in America is directed. Is it the one from 2020? Raven Shadow was a new one.
Yeah, it's got the kid who he was Impulse in Smallville. Actually, what do you think of that? Full circle.
Well, Leah Thompson's in it, apparently.
Yeah. She was a dirty mom.
So it was directed by Adam Remeyer. He's the white guy with the pants.
No. He's a good director, but he reminded me of that. Like, I mean, Wes Anderson is definitely a white guy, right? Like, I mean, he's very Caucasian.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? Like, that's.
Why does that Raven Shadow?
I don't know. I just think he makes, you know what I mean? Like, it's good. He makes good movies. People
that Wes Anderson makes some really fine cinema. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for a white guy. But it had that kind of feel to it. It was a passion.
Cody says George Lucas. He is a white guy that wears pants, though.
Yeah. He's but Wes Anderson films are different. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you said that white guy that makes films. You literally said that white guy that makes films.
I knew who I meant. Okay.
Yeah, and no one else in the fucking world did.
I know you think we only do these shows for you, but there's a couple other people that listen.
Any event, they're both big talents. But check it out. I enjoyed it. It was very punk rock. It was like a Wes Anderson punk rock, kind of like tale of romance and kind of shit's going on. And it's very touching. And I think you would like it, Aries, for the punk rock aesthetic. If you go over yourself for a little bit. But the kid who played Impulse was great. Leah Thompson was good. And definitely check out the Watermelon song. That's fucking endearing like a motherfucker. So no one knows what I'm talking about except like Mary and Linus. But I did message Linus saying thank you for the recommend. So check out Dinner in America if you like Smallville's Impulse and punk rock love stories.
Sold.
Thank you.
I'm
so you better believe. I'm gonna strap on.
You go through your week with the same old routine.
What you really want is some blood and thunder in your life.
Well, friend, you found it.
The Cromcast is an adventurous journey through the history of two-fisted pulp stories.
With your hosts, John,
Josh,
and Luke.
We have action,
horror,
and adventure, all through the lens of pulp luminary Robert E. Howard.
Don't just stay in your ordinary life.
Find your pulp life at thecromcast.blogspot.com.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
The Cromcast.
A podcast for the barbarian at heart.
This is Matt Kennedy of Astron 6. You might know me as Manborg. You might know me as Father John Sullivan in Father's Day. But what's important right now is that you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
Oh, delicious nerds. Ms. M knows you like to chat it up with other sexy shut-ins about comics, movies, video games, and your favorite TV shows. If that sounds like you, cuddle up to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, or the FIB. That stands for Fan Interaction Board. Just go to Facebook and search for Trick or Treat Radio and have more fun than a Jedi at a lightsaber sale. Not enough? Watch us on YouTube, The Deadites TV, all one word. Last but not least, check out the world's most dangerous talk radio show, Trick or Treat Radio, at trickortreatradio.com.
I can tell you I'm never coming back on this show. Especially now that I did that thing that you just made me do. Which I will be sending you an invoice for.
All right. We're back on Trick or Treat Radio. I am amazed. Raven Shadow.
I can't get past this.
Yeah. Raven Shadow was in his seat when I sat down. What is going on here? And he doesn't have his headphones on. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What's going on, Raven Shadow? What, you were in your seat when I sat down. I was still gone and you were sitting.
I'm a professional, Johnny. Okay.
So once ever makes you a professional?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I got it.
I'm branching out. We've been talking. I'm doing some new things. I'm trying to take on an expanded role. So I'm trying to move forward. You know what I mean?
Move forward. All right.
Yeah. Move forward. I'm trying, man. It's not always easy. There's a lot of step backs. But no, I'm trying to do better.
Did we shove our guest out the door? Where is she? Oh, there she is. Okay.
Yeah.
For it.
That's the sacrifice. For him to be in his seat before the break is over, he has to kick the guest out.
I figured she didn't agree with him enough, so he was like, "Get the fuck out of here."
There's that one comment that she made earlier.
Sorry about that. I stretched my legs. I said the seat is so
It's quite all right. We're going to get Raven Shadow shit, but not you.
Yeah, we used to waiting on him, so it was a pleasant surprise to give him shit that he was here on time.
Yeah.
One bathroom, I had to wait for him. So
No, you just go in the shower. It's okay.
Everyone else does.
Yeah, it's a very popular spot on the tour.
Let's see. Evil Corny says, I'm listening right now, Aries.
I'm hating? What?
I don't know.
I'm sorry?
That's 5 minutes
I
ago.
think.
So, Marion popped in the chat. She says, hey, Corny. Let me see what else we got here. Your boy JB, Raven Shadow, he's giving you props. Hope you're having a good day, especially my boy, Michael Raven Shadow.
My dude, bro.
Your dude, bro, or your dude, bro?
No, bro, it's my dude.
Okay.
And I did have a triumphant return appearance on Tales
wait,
Oh, God, of course.
It can't be triumphant every time you appear.
That's the thing, Johnny. It is fucking triumphant every time I appear.
No, it isn't. You're just kind of a reoccurring character now.
Yeah, what do you think?
You're almost
about
like
that?
Wilson on Home Improvement.
I am like the Wilson of Tales of the Podcast. But it's always triumphant. It's always epic. And it's always special.
Is that what you tell yourself?
That's what Ollie told me. He's telling me right now.
He is not.
He is.
All right,
Nina,
well, we have a movie to talk about. I want to dive into this flick. The name of the movie is Hellbender, and the film is 86 minutes long, and it originally played at Fantasia Film Fest, which is when I first had it on my radar. So it was played the festivals in 2021, but just got a release on Shudder here in the States. I'm not sure about other countries, but in the States, it was released on Shudder February 24th. And this film is interesting because it is made by a family. So it's the Addams family. Not the Addams Family like the TV show. There's one D, Raven Shadow. That's the big difference. Can you make a distinction between them?
Well, it's funny. I can definitely make a distinction between double D's. But no. And that was I had no idea that there really two were D's until it came up in conversation before the show. I'm like, oh, now that it's mentioned, I guess that's the thing.
Yeah, there
right?
you go. Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah. I have no idea what the thing was because I'm dumber for listening to him right now. But yeah,
I didn't
Addams
know
Family.
who this family was until I saw this movie, and then I looked to see the names of the cast, and I was like, wait a minute, they're also the actors, so that surprised me. I was like, the directors are the actors, and that's cool. I love that.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't see this very often. At least I don't think I've seen it very often where there's a family that makes films together. So we have John Adams, who is the father. We have Toby Poser, who is the mother. Obviously has a different last name. She probably just kept her name. But then we have also the two daughters, Lulu Adams and Zelda Adams, who stars as Izzy. So and there's not a whole lot of characters in this. It's a relatively small cast. We have a few people here and there that pop up, but yeah, for the most part, it's these four, but especially Zelda and Toby, who play the mother and daughter in the film. So, and they also did all the music. They I mean, if you look at the credits, they did almost everything. This is sort of like a, like Rebel without a crew. This is kind of like Family without a crew. Like they kind of did everything themselves for the most part.
And that Rodriguez element was definitely not lost on me a little bit. I mean, it's not a like-to-like comparison, but it definitely thought about that film to what these folks are doing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. So, I think just the story alone behind the film is really, really interesting. Just with that alone. So, but then obviously I think there's a lot to talk about with the movie as well. So, I'm actually looking for. I want to find a good, some good information here on. I'm not familiar with the Addams Family. I know that they did do another film that got some decent praise, and I know our friend Rachel over at Zombie Girls was hyping up another film that they did called The Deeper You Dig, which came out in 2019, and once again features the family. So I'd be interested in giving that a look. But yeah, I think every single track in this for the music was done by the Addams Family. So pretty cool. I mean, I think that's really, really interesting. Yeah. I'm sorry. Did you have something else to add, Mina? I didn't want to cut you off there.
No, I'm just impressed. I didn't know that they also did the music. I mean, I was already impressed, but I could tell they were playing, but I didn't know if they were actually did they produce the entire soundtrack to it as well?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm looking it up right now to see, but I'm pretty sure it was the whole family. Yeah, so it says music by John Adams, but clearly, as you could tell in some of this, we have the family Zelda Adams was playing drums, and she clearly was playing drums. Like there's no, magic trick to that. She was clearly playing. So yeah, I that's my guess. I don't know if that's an actual band. That's what I'm trying to find out to see if that's if they actually have a band called Hellbender.
Yeah, I actually was wondering where could I buy the soundtrack, because I really liked some of those songs. I was like, this is cool, but I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I'll kind of look as we continue to talk about it. I'll look up and see. I know that they do have some music videos, that were directed by the Addams Family that are available on YouTube, I believe. So, yeah, because I'm looking at, I'm looking at John Adams, the father, his filmography, and there's let's see. Hellbender, Black Sky, Hellbender, Falling in Love. They're listed as shorts, but I think they're music videos. Yeah, I'm going to try and see if I can find these and look them up. But yeah, I think it's super cool. I mean, not only is it cool to create as a family, but to do it on this level where you're making a film that, was picked up by Shudder and played at one of the biggest genre festivals in the world at Fantasia. It's really pretty awesome. So whether or not we enjoyed the film, I mean, we'll determine as we start to talk about it. But everything else is really impressive that surrounds this. So let me continue on with the information about the film. As mentioned, it is directed by John Adams, Zelda Adams, and Toby Poser. And it stars Zelda Adams as Izzy, Toby Poser as the mother, and Lulu Adams as the friend Amber, and John Adams as the uncle. And the synopsis is very simple. A lonely teen discovers her family's ties to witchcraft. And it is listed as a straight-up horror film. And as mentioned, this has gotten a pretty good amount of buzz, and Shudder picked it up coming out of Fantasia Film Fest. And yeah, I've seen some some pretty good buzz about this. So let's jump in, and we don't have to do a full blow by blow of the plot synopsis, but just to kind of give people a sense, like it starts off it doesn't tell you like how long ago, but it starts out in the past, and there's like what looks like a coven of witches kind of gathered around, and someone being hanged. And it's kind of a brutal scene where like the person being hanged is not dying, and then somebody pulls out a gun and shoots them several times. They still don't die. And then someone goes to set them on fire, and then that person basically goes flying into the sky, and that's sort of like our opening scene. So I think it was kind of a hell of an opener, and pretty intense to open that way, and it kind of sets things up a little bit. It doesn't really give you a good sense of anything right off the bat, because this movie, a lot of it is sort of like, it's almost like looking for your keys in the dark, like kind of like, like looking around and trying to find where things are, because the movie kind of gives you things piecemeal. Like as it goes along, it gives you more information about what is happening. But then we have the characters of Izzy and the mother, and they're basically living in the mountains and secluded in a mountain. In the middle of the woods. No one is really near them, and they're just surrounded by nature in the woods. And then Zelda Adams' character of Izzy is very much isolated, and the mother won't let her leave, basically. Not in a like, you're grounded kind of way. It's kind of with some respect, like, hey, I'm going to go into town. What do you need? And she's like, can I go with you? And she knows the answer is no. So we don't know why Izzy can't go into town, but there's some reason. And then as we kind of get through the movie, we find out a little bit more about it. So really, this is a film about two characters. It's a mother and a daughter, and the daughter learns more about her condition, I guess we'll say, where she's not supposed to be around other people. So that's kind of like a good jumping off point. Now, I guess we'll start with our guest Mina, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot. But we'll talk sort of like initial sort of thoughts. Like you don't have to give your whether you liked it or not, but generally, what about the aesthetic? Was there things that you enjoyed about this that felt different or original or anything like that?
I thought so. Yeah, this movie. I didn't know what I was getting into when I heard the title with Hellbender. I thought, oh man, like is this just another like slasher flick or something? And I was just pleasantly surprised, actually, that this was a multi-layered indie horror film. And I thought, can I say that I enjoyed it? Is that
yeah, no, good, yeah. You don't have to withhold that.
Can I not say that yet? No, but I actually really enjoyed this flick. And I was, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. And I actually had to, once I finished watching it, I actually went back to the beginning and watched a little bit over again, just to see how the beginnings, like if I understood more about the beginning watching it again. But I thought the pacing was, but not too slow. It was just unraveling something slowly and showing us more about this relationship between this mother and her daughter. And, it really made me think about things profoundly, because there was this movie. I have some knowledge of Wiccan and faith and Greek mythology, and I want to talk about that a little later, because there was a lot of deep symbolism in this movie that are important to mention, actually. So, but I thought this flick was pretty awesome, actually.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I do want to kind of dig into that stuff a little bit more as well. But Raven Shadow, I guess, give your thoughts. It seemed like I didn't get a whoa, or like a text that was like, holy shit, but I got the feeling that like you were maybe excited to at least talk about this picture.
And I was. And funny, there was that opening scene of the character propelling themselves into the air, which did remind me of it. Everything goes back to either Preacher or Smallville for me. And
of course,
it was Preacher. There was definitely a grandma-related scene that made me chuckle. But I was into it. I liked that the mom and daughter had a band.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Not saying the dynamic wasn't weird. A little bit weird.
Why was it weird?
Yeah, I mean, the older kid and the mom and the stuff. And
yeah, but she is completely sheltered. She doesn't see other people.
She doesn't, and the fact that she was sick. She said she was sick.
Yeah, you didn't answer that question. Why was it weird?
Yeah.
He
doesn't.
I'm sorry. Did you cut out?
Is this on? Is this on?
I gotta know. What was weird about their relationship? Or about their band?
Here's what's weird about it. Their band was good. Okay.
That's completely weird.
Well, you know what I mean?
No. Please explain.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, we want to know, why is it weird?
No, but I like it. It was weird to see a mom and daughter or a parent and sibling getting along. That was nice.
That's weird to Raven Shadow.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, wow, it's all they need.
They don't just yell at each other and call each other names and tell each other to knock it off?
Call you the motherfuckers and yell at people, and it was nice. There was a dynamic there. But, with maybe some sinister machinations in the background in the woods. Check for ticks.
There was this one scene where I saw a giant mosquito on Izzy's chest.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I was concerned.
I was like, oh God.
It's like, hit it. Swat it.
Sorry, I'm not gonna let you defer. What was weird?
Why? Why?
What do you mean why?
Why?
You said their relationship was weird.
Well, Raven Shadow's, most of his exposure to mothers and daughters are on sites that you shouldn't be going to while you're at work. So this was a little weird to him, Aries, okay?
First of all, that's somebody else's gimmick, okay?
Yeah, that defaults to you. He's not on the show anymore.
Oh, good. I've inherited gimmicks now.
Yes.
No, it's something weird right there in the woods. There's something skewed.
There's nothing weird.
Nothing weird about fine. Everything
about
about
a mother and daughter living isolated in the woods,
getting along, having fun, playing in a band.
It's not society's norm, but it's not weird.
Aries, you of all people should think that's weird.
Why?
Wait, Raven Shadow, aren't you like a mama's boy? Like, aren't you?
Oh.
Yeah, like I didn't see the mother in this movie bringing her daughter cigarettes.
I mean, he's only told me 100 times like how his mom exposed him to like 100 movies, and, like plus, and so I don't know. Is that weird? Because I don't think it's that weird.
He didn't live in the woods. It was usually on main roadways. Okay. All right, that's fair. Maybe it wasn't so weird.
Did you ever kiss your mother, Raven Shadow? That's weird. Jesus Christ.
What are you fucking implying? What are you, crazy? You're like Monster Zero asking for details. No, it's odd. All right, no, fine. It was very normal. Well, yeah. Well, it was a very normal relationship. We'll continue.
Didn't she buy you a Boba Fett suitcase?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's my 40th birthday present. That's true. I got a Yoda lamp over here. That was
I'm just
41.
saying she loves her son.
That's true.
Yeah.
Only children are very special.
You're a miracle, Raven Shadow.
And a miracle. Thank you. Ask Angela. She'll tell you.
Who's Angela?
Thank you.
His mother.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of relate to Izzy though. I mean, I lived a pretty sheltered youth. Like I was a sheltered kid. My mom was protective of me, and we had a strong relationship, but she was overly protective, and I could kind of relate to Izzy in that way. She was being protected.
Yeah, and that's, and there is, as the sort of like story unravels, we find out a little bit more about that. But, initially it's just sort of like you think that she's sick, or there's something, she has some like, I don't know, like autoimmune disease or something. She said what the disease was at when she was at that pool, but I can't remember what she said. But so you get this idea that her mother isn't being honest with her about this, and she just knows that she's supposed to kind of keep to herself. But as she's wandering through the woods, she eventually stumbles upon another house and sees this large pool, and there's a girl who is, kind of sitting by the pool, Amber. And Amber kind of invites her over and says, "Hey, like, we're neighbors, and turns out that Amber doesn't actually live there, and just kind of like goes and and steals this person's pool for a little while. But it's her first kind of like friendship with someone other than her mother, and they kind of hit it off, and Izzy is definitely a little she's not used to social norms and things like that. And Amber gives her a beer, and she doesn't really quite know what to do with it and all that. So, so we get to see, Izzy kind of branching out and meeting other people for the first time. And then Amber invites her back to come hang out the next day with some other friends that are going to be there. And this is when Izzy starts to ask her mom, like, hey, can I go, like, can we play out? Like, I want to see other people. Like, I think I'm ready. And her mother is still, being a little protective, but cautiously optimistic, maybe, that it might be time. And then she starts kind of telling her a little bit more about things. And then Izzy kind of finds something out on her own. And then her mom has like a talk with her about something about their history, and I think I like the duality of the band Hellbenders and the term of what Hellbenders means in terms of the film. I think it's kind of interesting, the duality that they have there. And even I really dug the music scenes. Like I felt like a lot of this film felt like a music video, and I mean that in a positive way. Like a lot of the imagery, especially when they were playing instruments, or when they would touch the grimoire or the tome, the book, and there was visions. Like I felt like that stuff was like straight out of like a music video. So I loved a lot of the visuals. I love what they were able to do with this, with clearly a very small budget, and I think it was pretty impressive what they were able to pull off with this. And some of the imagery was great. So yeah, I think for what they had available to them, they knocked it out of the park in terms of making it look really, really strong and interesting and unique. And that's something I really dug about this movie. I do have. Let me go ahead and play. I do have one of the songs. I think this is the band Hellbender. Let me just play like a few seconds of it.
A little out of control, broken up in little pieces.
So I don't think this is something from the movie. This is just something from like 2020 that they released. This is Hellbender Falling in Love. And the description says Hellbender is John, Z, and Toby having fun making music together. So it's just basically the three of them kind of just making music together, which is kind of cool. I hope they actually released the music from the movie, because I thought some of the music was great. I really dug it. Like a really unique feel to it.
Kind of like a indie rock, shoegaze kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
And now I'm a sucker for anything like bass driven, and this was bass and drums. And you just played that, and it listed the three people. So I'm curious as to what, who didn't do what in the movie.
What do you mean? Who didn't do what?
Well, in the movie, it was just the mother and daughter singing and bass and drums.
Gotcha.
And you listed three people. So someone didn't do something. I'm just curious. Not that it takes away from anything, because I did enjoy the music in this. I'm just curious.
Yeah, the father, John Adams, he is credited as writing the music for the film. So it's possible that he wrote the music and maybe they played it, so maybe Toby plays bass and Zelda plays drums, and clearly Zelda is singing on these as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. So even though they're crediting the three of them in what you played, it is just the two of them performing.
At least in the film, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is from the actual movie. The song is called Drive. This is the one where she's playing with the cars, I believe.
I listen to your lips, I listen to your eyes. I listen to my head and everything inside.
So I'm not going to play the whole thing, but if people want to check it out, it is on YouTube, Hellbender Drive. But that was one thing that really stood out to me, was just the sound. It was almost sort of like, I think Mina sort of hinted at this earlier, but it was sort of like a indie rock with like almost sort of like a gothic sort of undertone to it a little bit. Which I really dug, kind of like punk, goth, like indie, which I dug. So, yeah, it's just pretty cool that they did all of this, and I think that they filmed it during the pandemic as well, like the start of the pandemic. I think is when they started to make this movie, which also is sort of another interesting element of that. How about you, Aries? I think. The others, most of us have sort of talked. I wanted to get your sort of take on the flick.
I mean, as far as my initial feeling about this, the name alone, I was more like, my mind went more towards Hellraiser because of the name. And then with the initial, the opening shot, I was on board until the fire. And I actually, I laughed with the fire. So this movie kind of, I was like, this movie had to dig itself out of a hole for me because of that scene. Like, because I laughed at what I assumed wasn't supposed to be comical, but I instantly took as comical. This movie had to fight to get me back.
All right. I guess we'll find out if it got you back. But the thing, and you're talking about the opening scene, is that where they kind of lost you?
Yeah, the opening scene, like I was on board, with the okay, yeah, you know what? The hanging and the initial death and then the coming back, and I was like, you know what, this could be good. And then they with the fire, and I was like, that like when she took off, I laughed. I and that wasn't supposed to be comical, but my reaction was to laugh at that scene. That was comical to me. So this movie had to fight back from that.
And I won't ask you if it was able to fight back yet, but did the movie do a good job of explaining why that happened? Like, were they able to sort of like, were you able to understand the intro better when the film sort of wrapped up?
Not entirely. I feel I needed to kind of fill in my own holes. I don't feel it was 100% explained as to why that happened. I feel I needed to grasp, kind of like, okay, this could be this and this and this. And it, although it wasn't like this could never happen, I feel it didn't 100% explain it to me. I need to fill in my own blanks.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not super clear, but I think some of the stuff that they get at, that they hint at, sort of like led me to believe a little bit, understand that a little bit better.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, this is a very interesting film. I would almost say that this is like maybe part Ben Wheatley in terms of some of his like folk horror, surrealistic sort of stuff. But at its heart, it's kind of a family drama, with the mother and the daughter, and kind of a coming of age as well. As in this, Izzy is 16, and every 16-year-old wants to sort of branch out on their own, right? Like it's kind of the sort of like sort of the age-old thing is they just want to kind of get out on their own. But I think the performances I thought were pretty good. The only complaint I have is I feel sometimes, and I'm sure that this is on purpose, but I felt like sometimes when they cut to a new scene, I could almost sense somebody saying action, and then they sort of like, like hop into character, I'm not saying that it was like super obvious and clear, but I don't know, like I just got this feeling that like it was almost like they were all of a sudden now in character, and I don't know, like that's really probably one of the only complaints I could have is some of the acting at the beginning of scenes seemed a little off, but by the end of the scene it didn't really bother me. So I don't really know. It was one of those kind of odd things that I wasn't able to kind of suss out.
See, I didn't get that. My only problem with the acting was what was it? Abby? Is that what the other girl?
Amber.
I thought she was a horrible actress. That was my only problem with the acting. I really felt she was horrible. Like, and you're running through the family dynamic, and I realized why she was used, and I feel that probably held this movie back a little bit, trying to keep it in the family.
Yeah.
That probably was the weakest link.
Yeah, and that's fair. I mean, the even I did think for the most part a lot of the stuff between Izzy and the mother, I thought was. I mean, I was gonna say felt natural, but of course it's gonna fucking feel natural because they're real fucking mother-daughter. But it just felt very genuine, I guess, and even if they're acting, and they are actually mother and daughter, like that still has to come across on screen. Like, they're playing different characters and they have different motivations and reasons for doing things. So they're definitely not playing themselves. but it still was able to feel genuine. And I did like the relationship between them, and it felt like, the mother was very protective, maybe overprotective, but potentially for good reason, and was doing it out of love, right? Like that's, you could tell that it was driven by genuine affection, and not trying to just like have her be out in like completely isolated because of she didn't want her to interact with people. Like it was done out of genuine love, I think.
I think there's still a lot to unpack here. And I think Mina was talking about a few things.
Did you say
about
Mino? El Mino?
not El Nino.
What the fuck?
Translated to Spanish. No.
Que hacemos dos chicas en la cocina, man. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, I mean, where do I start? There is a lot of symbolism in there where there's so much told with so little. I don't know, because even like the room in which that grimoire, the Book of Shadows was kept, that even how they access that, and those, just the symbolisms of behind keys and such. Like, I mean, there was a lot of thought put into this, and I could tell they had done some, either they were knowledgeable about pagan faith, or they just did a lot of research, because it comes through. But I don't know if you folks are familiar with Greek mythology, but I saw this as a metaphor. It's a retelling of the story of Demeter and her daughter Persephone.
Okay.
Because Demeter has to, if you know, in Greek mythology, she has to actually go and, basically her daughter Persephone is kidnapped by Hades.
Yeah.
Hades falls in love with her, and Demeter has to go rescue her. And she is symbolically has to hold a torch to go and find her in the underground, and she's looking for her in hell, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
That metaphor comes through later in the movie, but I don't want to spoil too much. But let's just say, like, the torch is instead a lantern, so, but she is that comes later in the movie. But earlier on, like, even the keys and such those are Hecate, like those are like symbols of Hecate, like the goddess, goddess of magic and so forth. And like even the music, the thought of the way they put the music in there, it's kind of music plays an important part in Wiccan faith. I mean, so the male god is Pan, and he's the god of the woods, of nature, but also he's a lusty god, a tricky god, and he's the male figure. But did you notice that a lot of the men that were portrayed, and there were very few of them in the movie, were kind of dumb.
Shitty.
Oh, they were really dumb. Yeah.
Dumb.
Yeah.
And you could tell that this coven was a matriarchal coven.
Yeah.
Like there were no women at the beginning. I mean, there were no men at the beginning, only women. So immediately I knew something was up. I'm like, there are no men in this group. And then anytime they showed dudes, they were like meatheads, So that was interesting to me. But like Pan is also is known for loud music, loves loud music, and I thought they brought that in with the band and so forth, and I thought they did that. So there's all these symbols I saw in it that were just, I had to write notes because I thought there were so many. I loved it. There was so much thought, but you wouldn't know, like, unless you like had some knowledge, like. But if you did know, if you had some knowledge of these things, like maybe some Greek mythology or whatever, you start to see these symbols, and they're retelling these stories in a modern way. But I I just love
Yeah.
that. I
That's-
love when movies get deeper than you think, you know? So
Yeah, I think that's it's a really good observation. And Aries, you don't know anything about Greek myth, do you?
No, I have no idea about anything. But you know, I
Well, I
mean,
was just-
as the movie unfolded.
Sorry, I was making a joke, given your
Oh
name.
yeah, no,
Okay.
no, and I understand what you were trying to do there. And although I didn't, you know, I could not attach names or specific stories to this as it climaxed. I recognized that it was part of the Greek mythology. I there was it definitely had that feel to it, and it was not of the more popularly.
Popularly.
Very
Yeah,
popularity.
I had a lot of fucking whiskey tonight. Some of the more popular stories that are out there, and I did appreciate that it was diving into that some of the lesser known stories of the Greek mythology. And I hate to disagree with our guests, but I do feel there was one male character that wasn't an entirely buffoon. I feel he was kind of playing the part. He recognized he needed to the ranger. I do feel he knew who he was talking to and needed to act a certain way.
I was on the fence with him too.
yeah, no, you're right about that. I think I was on the fence. I didn't know exactly how to read him.
And Aries does love Rangers. So
I kind of maybe I'm biased. I just
but no, and there's sometimes I feel like he fucking knows this is fucking something weird, right?
You know, he knew to keep his boundaries. And then
simply because he knew he seemed to know the exact line.
yeah, like he knew the meat shirt. Like he was, or he was trying to be. Maybe he just knows how to talk to teenagers. Like he's hip with the kids. I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, I do feel. I mean, he definitely knew something. It's to the viewer's interpretation as to what extent he was in the know, I guess.
Or it could be like, that's above my pay grade. Listen, I went there. I talked to them. I'm going home.
Yeah, I wonder if he's heard. I mean, there must be murmurings or whispers about things, right? So I wonder if he has any information or theories about what that is all about, because he seemed awfully nice.
Just by the simple fact he could identify the line, like he knew.
Yeah,
this is
true,
the line.
True.
You know how difficult it is to know the line when you're in the middle of the woods?
I don't know. You should tell us. You would know.
It's very difficult. Unless you're shooting it, I'm going to use terminology. Unless you're shooting the line, you have no idea where it is, and you need to have the corner.
Yeah, you could have the corner.
Yeah, and by the simple fact that he walked up and knew where the line was, it is established. I feel that all of him and his colleagues are aware and they know, and that is, he was looking for permission to step onto their property and speak to them.
Yeah,
that's why I feel he was in the know, and he was playing the part for them.
Mm-hmm. I do want to say, the more I think about it, I like Mina's interpretation about Demeter and Persephone, because at the end I was just sort of like tuned in and to what's going on, but it did sort of take a turn, where it's like, this is weird, now they're here, but I do feel that was makes more sense when you have that in mind. And even though like we there's no, like, I'm trying to tiptoe around around this, but there was no sort of male figure that would have kidnapped somebody or taken them hostage or whatever. But we do have, I think the idea of something else taking her over, right? Of sort of knowing her true purpose, or maybe some information about her lineage, that is sort of gripping her and has sort of enraptured her, I guess. So I think it's kind of interesting, and it's one I probably would like to rewatch eventually, and with that in mind, But yeah, it is a cool sort of retelling of that stuff, and I do like where it heads. And once again, this is sort of like spoiler territory, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But there's some dialogue at the end that mirrors something that's said earlier that I thought was really interesting. And, when in reference to the mother and the daughter about going to town, there's that line. But then also they talk about how I think it's fall eats winter, winter eats spring, spring eats summer, and then it just kind of keeps repeating this cycle. Sort of like an Ouroboros, right, where the snake eating its tail, where it just keeps, the cycle keeps going. And I do know in paganism and in Wicca that cycles are obviously like a big thing. So I thought it was interesting that the lore that they used, some of it was definitely sensationalized. I mean, it is. I think it was based in a lot of rooted in spirituality, but definitely since took it in a different way, at least that I'm not familiar with, in terms of like that scene with like the worm and some other stuff like that and what happens there. Actually, Mina, do you have any insight on that? Was that something that seemed in line with your understanding of these forms of religion and spirituality?
I'm not. Well, there's that discussion that her mom has with her Izzy, about how consuming a worm is like you are taking on. You can feel its life. You know? But what I felt from that was that it's kind of like how vampires are, they can like, so she's on so Izzy is a vegetarian, but seemingly not by choice. But so when she's offered the worm, it's a big deal to her because this is a living creature.
Yeah.
And like vampires, like, you can survive without consuming, like, I'm trying not to give away to it. You can survive a vampire by not consuming human blood, by feeding off of rats or animals or, anything but human. And in other vampire lore, that would be considered surviving, not necessarily living. And they're kind of touching on that in this movie as well. They're just discussing the true nature of a witch, and the lore is different in this. And actually, has anyone read the Scott Snyder Witches book with a Y, W-Y-T? No. I highly recommend that if you haven't read that comic book, to everybody. That is a phenomenal. It's just one trade story, but it has a lot of parallels to this movie in a way. But yeah, so anyways, they're discussing how, like, basically there's eating, and then there's, basically, falling into what you really are and behaving like the true creature that you are, and, not holding back. So Izzy has a choice now. Does she want to continue as a vegetarian and consume the plants of, the forest, which sustain her, or does she try to eat this worm? And I'm trying not to give away too much.
Yeah, no,
really,
you're doing a good job.
Okay, so there is this element in it, and I think it's intriguing, and that part of it was fascinating to me. But anyways, I hope I'm too much. But.
No, I think you towed the line perfectly. Yeah, I think that's really good. Sorry, Raven Shadow, you gonna say something?
No, I was giving her props. I was just like, I was saying, my thought was like, yo, man, you fucking like one dude in a beach house with some beautiful lovelies. Why are you gonna put a fucking earthworm in the fucking shot glass, dog?
Which, by the way, I found out that that was tequila that they put the worm in, and usually the worms are in mezcal, and those are so. All tequila can be a form of mezcal, but I found out, being a geek, reading this online, that mezcal is actually just tequila produced in a different way, where you make it in an oven that's in an earthen pot and heated with lava rocks or something like that, where tequila is done in industrial ovens. So there's a difference between tequila and mezcal, and worms go in mezcal. Anyways, that was probably the geekiest thing I've ever said.
Fucking mean is wicked smart, dog. What the fuck?
But for anybody who wanted to know that fact,
But by the simple fact that this wasn't birthed from the bottle, this could have been tequila. They added the worm. This wasn't a worm from the bottle.
Right. It was like an earthworm.
But it's a big fucking worm, though. That's kind of fucking rude. That's like you know what I mean? Like,
and it was dirty. It was like
dirty
covered
worm.
in dirt.
It was a dirty worm.
Oh yeah, you saw the dirt in the tequila too.
Yeah, it was.
But that was part of the
At least
the ritual of joining that group.
I ain't joining that team, man.
But even the mother.
No one wants you on that team.
Well, thank you.
Raven Shadow, do you feel like a little worm on a big fucking hook?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Anybody worm on a big fucking hook.
Oh crap! What movie was that from?
Oh, we're not gonna tell you. Don't tell him.
Oh god damn it! I know that little bitty worm on a big fucking hook. I can picture that. Oh my god.
Here, I'll give you a hint. Fire it up. Fire it up.
Okay, it was the Crow. Okay.
Is that the second time we mentioned the Crow tonight? I thought it was.
If it was, I missed the first one too.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was mentioned earlier. Maybe I'm mistaken.
You know what? I was torn between the Crow or the Wraith for some reason. With that quote,
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
What other Wraith is there, Raven Shadow? Wraith and Shadow. Michael Wraith and Shadow.
Michael Wraith and Shadow.
You should change your name.
Maybe I might have to for copyright purposes.
Wraith and Shadow.
But there was actually a dope Batman villain in the 80s called the Wraith that had a weird Mina's fucking nodding because she fucking knows.
Well, I mean, I know.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say he wasn't that dope because he's not around anymore.
No, but he had a cool drawing in the Who's Who from back in the day. He had
doesn't matter if he's not around. He's not that dope because the fucking Riddler survived and is now fucking huge. So
Riddler is awesome because he wore a suit, and Frank Gorshin is by far the best live action Riddler.
Yeah, well, because of Gorshin, he wore a suit.
Not Jim Carrey.
Not Jim Carrey.
To be fair, Raven Shadow, he was the Wrath, not the Wraith.
Oh, you're right.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's the Wrath.
And he was nice connect. Oh, actually, never mind. Sorry, I looked at the writer, Mike W. Barr. I was thinking. Yeah. Yeah. What?
No, keep going. I'm excited by your words, and so is Mina, because it might tie into something that we're going to be talking about in a minute from now.
Well, when I saw the bar, I was thinking James O'Barr, which was going to bring us back to the Crow, but I obviously I was mistaken because Mike W. Barr is not the same person as James O'Barr.
No, because his name is Mike.
Right, exactly. Thank you.
But he did do a bunch of outsider stuff and Batman stuff.
And
I think
the Wrath looked like basically like Batman with a W on his fucking mask and his fucking chest.
Yeah, it's dope.
Is it? Is it though?
I was 9.
Okay, well, speak now. Is
Yes.
it dope?
Well, my memory, and so's Catman, like Mina said.
Catman dude.
Catman dude. But I think Mike W. Barr also did the Son of the Demon that we talked about recently,
Yes. Yeah.
which was the first.
Yeah. Yeah. What are we talking about?
Making fun of me,
Track
call
of
me a
No,
motherfucker.
nobody knows.
This is when we circumvent and make them feel like
But what does Son of the Demon have to do with this?
I'm saying it was a good
Oh my
comment.
God. Are we on another Batman tangent? Can we get back to the movie?
You want to know about Damian Wayne? Anyway,
Yeah, all right.
I don't want to know about Damon Wayans.
Damon Wayans.
Damon Wayans.
read it if you want to know
Yeah.
more about it.
Damian Wayans, yeah.
Movie. I want Robert Pattinson and Damon Wayans.
It's
in a
Raven
in a-
Shadow, it's Pattinson.
Pattinson.
Yes. That's better.
Pattinson.
Oh God, maybe we should just call him let him call him the glittery vampire. Is that what you used to say?
Twilight.
It's Twilight.
Twilight.
Why?
No,
what's-
you used to say glittery vampire or something like that.
I never said sparkly vampires. Everyone else did, but
Sparkly. That's what it was.
There, Raven Shadow, look at the monitor. You see that? That's Wrath.
All right. Well, to be fair, last time I saw Wrath, I just saw Tim Burton's Batman.
What's he holding?
No, it's a
He's
purse.
holding like a briefcase and a gun.
He stole it.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
But I
I
was
feel like that's Batman naked. Get that off. I feel dirty looking at that.
That's a very tight spandex suit.
All right. Well, once again, I was probably fucking.
Hey, boys.
All right. I was probably 10.
So,
And dudes in tights.
if you like it, hey, don't.
So when you were 10, dudes in tights did it for you? Is that what you were saying?
I just like dynamic artwork about fictional characters that would lead me to a mythology of adventure and memories.
Wait, well, no, we shouldn't get defensive.
I think you made me defensive.
Why?
I think
There's nothing wrong with liking men.
I think you're trying to in front of Mina. No, I can appreciate.
Calling you a motherfucker.
Yeah, calling me a motherfucker. All right, it's not. All right, my memory of that was
It's
a lot better.
okay if you like guys in tight costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like ponytails and pouches, Raven Shadow. It's okay.
Listen. I can appreciate. Beard.
I can go put on my tights if you want.
I've seen it.
They're right over there.
Thank you.
He's actually wearing them. He just has to take off his jeans.
I gotta take off my jammies. I got my Star Wars jammies on.
All right, so Wrath is as cool as I remember.
Not as cool, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I was fucking like 11, dude.
You don't. You don't have to make an excuse.
I'm just telling you.
Okay.
I'm just
We're not going to think less of you now.
A, you're gonna. B,
No, it's hard to think any less of you
Yeah,
than we
we
already
couldn't.
do.
Couldn't. It's not feasibly possible.
oh yeah, it is.
Unless you just don't think at all, right?
All right, so I do want to wind this down. We're getting a little long in the tooth, so to speak. So I want to. One thing I do want to say, actually, we haven't really talked about. It was we talked about the scenes where they were playing as a band. I actually really dug their makeup.
Yeah.
In those scenes, and I think especially my favorite one was when Izzy was wearing the black crown and had that almost like black metal, almost corpse paint style with the white and the black on the eyes. I thought that looked really kind of badass.
Kind of like a ghost, inspired. Like the band Ghost,
Yeah.
inspired by that or something. Yeah. It was very, I want to go see them live. Yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool look. I'm setting the Trick or Treat Radio group photo as that with Izzy wearing the crown and that. I'm setting it right now, Raven Shadow. You can
Nice.
go like it later.
Ooh.
Let's see if there's anything else. Was there anything you guys wanted to bring up that we haven't brought up about this film yet before we head to the verdict?
Be right back.
What?
Oh God, Jesus! Yeah,
What does that have?
Without him.
What does that have to do with what I just said, Aries?
It has absolutely nothing, but he needs to piddle. So let him
Tittle,
go.
tittle and piddle.
Tiddle and piddle.
If I didn't say be right back, you'd call me a motherfucker and say I'm leaving again, and you'd embarrass me in front of me.
Right, but you.
But the simple fact that you were like, but Johnny asked, "Is there anything else anyone needs to add?" And you're like, "I'll be right back."
Yeah.
Like you were gonna like come back with some big thing, going, "Look at this." When in reality, you're gonna go to the bathroom.
Yeah. So I would have just like paused and waited until you came back and not said a thing, and then you would have been like, "What?"
I mean, I'm damned if I do. I'm damned if I don't. All right, I'm gonna come back with donuts. Okay, I'll be right back.
Well, that's good. That's good for you and me, no?
I know, right? Like,
yeah, well, because they're calling me a motherfucker.
I think you called yourself a motherfucker.
Listen, I'm damned if I do. No.
Would you just go piss in the shower and hurry back?
No, I'm a fucking grown up. I'm gonna do it the right fucking way.
in the sink. No.
In the sink. 3 in the morning.
Go out the screen window, Raven Shadow, like you always do.
That was one time.
I can't wait to talk shit about him when he's gone with Mina.
Oh God.
Don't trip on anything, Raven Shadow.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's going around the difficult way there.
Well, you'd have to climb over me.
I wouldn't put it past him. Oh man. All right, so I guess we'll go to the verdict. We'll just fucking wait on him, or not wait on him. I mean, he'll go last if he needs to. So, let's go to the verdict.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Hellbender was a trick or a treat and any final thoughts we may have. And Aries, I'm going to put you on the spot because I'm not going to put our guest on the spot. But why don't you go ahead and tell folks, was this movie a trick or a treat, and any final thoughts? And also, I want to know, were they able to pull you back from that opening scene, Aries?
You know what? I never get to go first. And not that I want to make it a habit, but this is nice to be able to go first, and I don't feel like I'm fighting with anyone, being as to what they said contradicts what I said. So I appreciate this, not to make it a habit. But yes, this movie absolutely it battled back. This movie got beyond that initial scene that made me laugh.
Prize fighter.
It was Rocky. This was fucking Rocky. This movie was shouting Adrian at the end. No, this movie, I mean, this is not a fast-paced movie. This movie is definitely a slow burn. It very deliberately paced. It very much the characters make this movie. The one weak link, I've already talked about it. I felt like that could have been recast. But there was a lot of good going on in this
movie. Was
movie.
One of the family members, so
one of the Oh yeah, and I understand why they did it. And you know what? There's a reason why they don't always do that. But the biggest problem for this movie, even beyond what I had issue at the beginning, the climax was a little anticlimactic for me. Not that this movie was very exciting throughout the whole thing, but I was expecting a little bit more at the end. Although I did like the end, I just thought it needed a little bit more of a punch. But all said and done, this movie is a treat. You should definitely check this out.
All right. It was a treat for Aries. Now, Michael Raven Shadow, how about you? Verdict, man.
This was not the movie I expected, but I was definitely along for the ride. And I may have said it was weird earlier, but I did like the mom and daughter dynamic. And I thought some of the stuff with her being sick and being around people was a little bit topical. I could definitely see a backstory with the mythology, in the cycles. That was definitely a thing where, I don't know, daughter becomes the mother and the daughter becomes, that kind of stuff, that thing. And I'm not as eloquent, but I thought it was weird, a little gross at times. This picture,
Yeah.
we haven't talked about.
Yeah, no, there were some really gross scenes when they're tripping balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
Those scenes were, wow, not what I expected. And also made me question
some of the dynamic a little bit.
how that worked. Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of like, oh, so that's how it is in their family.
Yeah.
But no, man. I hear what Aries is saying about the payoff, but I think it was a payoff enough. So I would say this is a treat. Yeah.
All right. Got 2 treats. Let's see. Yeah, we'll let our guests go. And Mina, why don't you go ahead and let folks know, was this a trick or a treat? Any final thoughts you have?
Oh, I thought it was a definite treat. I definitely didn't know what I was getting into when I heard the title, like I said before, but I really enjoyed it a lot. It spoke to me, maybe because it's more of something I'd enjoy. I do like indie movies. I do like the slower pace, but I didn't think it went slower than it needed to. So, and like Aries said deliberate pacing. I really thought it was deliberately paced, and it gave you enough to keep wanting to find out more about this mother-daughter relationship, and which is complex. And the ending for me, I thought it was perfectly suited for being what it was, and it was kind of simple but not. I don't know, like it's just like the rest of the movie, and it made me want to think, like it made me think about like where was this mother-daughter relationship going to go now that things have been revealed, and they don't tell us, but it makes you wonder. So
All right, so 3 treats. Let's see if I can complete the I was gonna say trifecta, but because I'm looking at 3 different cameras, but quadfecta, like I don't know. The quadrilogy. Yeah, for me, this was a big treat. Actually, I really dug this, and we've seen films that deal with similar subject matter. Now, a film that I think was a little divisive. It's one of the ones that's kind of off the top of my head that dealt with similar themes. Was Hagazusa. I don't know if you guys remember that one. We watched it like 2 years ago. It was very quiet in the woods in a cabin about witchcraft. I remember MZ really liked it, and I think you guys were just kind of like meh. But we've seen others like this. I don't remember some of the other ones that we've watched the last couple of years, but for me, this one felt much more unique. It was as was already mentioned by both Mina and Aries, deliberately paced. I don't mean it was too slow. I feel like there was like a good amount. The way the story unfolded was the right pace for this story. I thought the performances were good. It's a Herculean effort to have made this as a family. Like I think that's amazing that they were able to make this movie and have it be so successful, and that they're able to create art together. Like that is so badass. And I'm a little envious, right? Like of being able to create art as a family, I think it's great. So I love that. I'm fully behind the Addams family. Like I'm rooting them on. I want them to do more. And I like their style. I like the music style. I like the way this was shot. It was very very sharp. Had a really great look to it, and there was even some really cool like visual effects that they worked in that didn't take away from what you were seeing. Like some of the visions that we saw when they touched the grimoire, I thought were really really interesting and really cool. So yeah, overall, I think this is a really fun, a great little movie, and I think people should definitely be checking this out on Shudder. Um, and I'm super excited to see what the Addams Family is going to be up to next. I don't know how old the youngest is, Zelda, but she seems kind of like a creative sort of like powerhouse. With her vocals and playing the drums and just her performance in this. So I would like to see them do more stuff and continue to sort of push the limits of what they can accomplish. And yeah, I think this is a really great flick. I really dug it and really interesting, and took a lot of the motifs and ideas that we've seen in other films and just made this stand out and feel unique. And that's not easy to do. So kudos to the Addams Family. And yeah, check out Hellbender. It's on Shudder. All right. So Raven Shadow, next week we're still up in the air, right? We will have a guest, but we don't have a hard confirmation yet, right?
It's a fairly, I don't want to do a euphemism, but it's a fairly good confirmation that we're good for next week.
Okay, so either way, we'll have a mystery guest next week, and what we like to do is have the mystery guest weigh in on the film. And so because of that, because all the I's aren't dotted and the T's aren't crossed yet, the ink isn't dry on the contract, so to speak. We haven't officially decided on the film, but when we do, which will definitely be in the next couple of days, because I want to give people at least the weekend to be able to watch it. We will announce it on our Discord and on social media. So
the ink is pretty dry, Johnny.
It's pretty dry?
Yeah.
Okay. Can it be smudged though? That's the question.
I mean, everything can be smudged, Johnny. But no, it's dry. It's dry. It's like the fucking Mojave Desert.
I have to just say, I know the guest. It's a good guest.
Oh, that's a tease. All right, cool. So we'll figure out all the details and figure out the movie, and then as soon as we do, we'll announce that. Aries, you look like you're in pain. Are you okay over there?
I'm in pain listening to him. I don't know.
To me?
Yeah, to you. To one of the him.
Oh, it could be me.
Okay, touche. I've had 2 weeks without him, and it's just kind of I'm not. I got to build the callus up again.
Johnny, I'm saying, you think he built all those calluses up in the truck, fucking snow blowing for so long by himself?
Yeah, by myself.
Oh, he's building up calluses, all right, by himself. Oh man. Okay. So yeah. So we don't have the film officially picked out, but we'll announce on social media. And next week we'll have another guest, and we'll find out if the guest will be in studio or not. We'll find out. So, all right. We do have a few voice messages though. I want to get to these, and we'll kind of wrap things up after that. So first up, we're going to check in with one of the guest hosts that was on last week on episode 500. Our good buddy Arkham Josh is going to weigh in.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio guys, it's Arkham Josh here, just calling in with my thoughts on this week's film, Hellbender. I was not familiar with this before you guys chose it. I had seen maybe a day or two before that had popped up on Shudder, but didn't really know anything about it. And this was a great little find. I thought the story was good. The cast was good. Really good camera work and sound design. I even thought like the music was good, both from the score and from the music involved in the film. I thought worked really well. And the backstory is fascinating too, about how it is a filmmaking family. And I'm really looking forward to seeing more of their stuff. It looks like if you look online, there might be a couple of shorts also related to these characters or world. which that's also another thing. It's not just the story and the characters, but they managed to kind of make a whole mythology that you kind of believe along with the characters. And it all really worked well. It's a really good film. I'm going to say Hellbender is a treat and a recommend, and I look forward to seeing what the Addams family comes up with in the future. Other than that, you got past 500 episodes, and what goals are we going to set now? So I don't know, but thank you very much for having me on last week. It was an honor to be part of 500. Aries, I'm sorry that you couldn't be there. I assumed that, you probably had to work with the impending snowstorm. Off air, they were trying to tell me that you wouldn't show up because you were too intimidated that I was going to be there in the studio, but I didn't believe them at all. I think it was purely work-related, and I understand. But hopefully I'll see you sometime in the future. All right. You guys have a good one. Thanks again for having me on last week. It was a blast. It was great seeing you, Raven Shadow. It's great seeing Monster Zero, even though I know he's not going to listen to this. And it was great talking to you, Johnny. So, I don't know. Talk to you guys soon, and have a good one. Bye.
All right, Josh. Awesome to hear from you. And yeah, it was a pleasure to have you on last week, man. And to kind of celebrate 500. So we appreciate you being on. And Josh will be on again soon. Aries, do you have any comments?
You know what? I mean, that storm was just very convenient. Now, maybe I'm a little intimidated by Josh. He's a little smarter than me. I don't like talking to people that are smarter than me.
So
I talk to Raven Shadow.
So it's Josh and not MZ, right?
Right.
Because you weren't intimidated by him.
Correct.
All right. Raven Shadow, any comments?
Yeah, I'm a little upset.
Why?
Because I think Josh just knows me and knows the words to make me feel better. And I appreciate that. But I would hope that Aries would know those words more because I know him so much longer.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Fuck is going on?
I just think that Josh is very soothing, and it was very nice to have him in the studio when he calmed me down, and he's not as rude as Aries is to me. And I just wish that Aries, who I knew since I was 15 years old, would have the same calming effect on me.
I wish I knew what was going on. Do we have another voicemail?
Yes, we do.
Raven Shadow, respect has to be earned.
Oh.
Fucking time. The fucking things I've done to him.
What do you want Aries to do?
Wait, no. You said all the things you've done for him. Is the him me?
All right. Maybe not things I've done for, but
okay.
To you.
Mentally support it.
Well, I'm so happy you got ahead of that one. Okay.
Yeah. I've asked for help.
Next voicemail.
All right. Next, we're going to hear from Robert Walnut.
Thank you.
Yo, when you guys going to do Freddy's Nightmares, man? Come on.
Whoa.
Well, it's a legit question, Raven Shadow or Aries. When are we going to do Freddy's Nightmares?
Where are those streaming?
Currently, I'm doing Raven Shadow's Nightmares right now. But yeah,
Freddy's Nightmares. So I know it was a TV series. Let's see, 44 episodes from 1988 to 1990. And it did star Robert Englund. And let's see if I recognize anyone else.
Yeah, well, he just did the intro and the outros to those.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, my God, it's been so long since I've seen him.
Yeah, I haven't seen him since they aired, but I do remember that he was just intros and outros, and it was more of like Twilight Zone-esque horror, stories.
That's right. Okay, the synopsis, says Freddy the Dream serial killer hosts the anthology of stories set in Springwood. All right.
You know what? I would love to revisit those because really, I haven't seen them since they aired.
Well, maybe
we need to get on that.
Maybe a Patreon. Maybe. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. Let's see. You could buy the DVD. That's the only thing I'm seeing here. So I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but well, all right. We'll take your recommendation under advisement, Robert Walnut. And that's an interesting one. Okay. All right, we got one more. I'm not quite sure who this is from, but let's check it out.
Hello, this is Karen Bogdanovich Kabats, and I'm here to say after last week's Trick or Treat show, I was physically accosted by Aries Beard. It drugged me in the alley and beat me unmerciful, and I've got the bruises and rashes to prove it. If you can't keep your unruly hairs to yourself and under control, there is going to be even larger criminal charges filed. Right now, I'm filing for punitive damages, and I'll see you in your filthy show, your nasty, filthy feck show. I will see you in court, and you can go fuck yourselves.
Wow. Aries wasn't even here last week.
Yeah, what the fuck? I took a week off, and my beard is doing shit without me.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Well, I guess you'll get the paperwork in the mail soon if you haven't already got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is it for voice messages.
I mean, I don't know who that little kid was, but I just want to say that there's definitely a friend of the show that's having a big milestone birthday today. So happy birthday, Rock.
Yeah.
We love you.
I apparently I was the first one to say happy birthday to him because we finished the show, the Star Wars show last night after midnight, and but yeah, so our buddy Rocky just had a big milestone birthday, and happy birthday to him. And I've known that fucker for almost 20 years now, I think. And he hasn't driven me up a wall enough to kill him yet, but he's gotten close. No.
Well, I think it helps that he's in another country.
Well, that is true, yeah. He says, I'm hiding in Aries' bathroom, so I'll be there. So he won't talk to bread or salad or the doorknob. What? That was 5 minutes ago. It's probably something you said, Raven Shadow.
I don't know what I said.
Right. Well, yes, that is something that is traditionally true.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I like that.
I don't know what I said. Just say words don't mean you know what you said. You know what I mean?
Rocky says, if only someone would kill me.
I know.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. Well, if your wife hasn't done it yet, Rock, probably shit out of luck there, buddy. All right, so let's wrap this up. First off, Mina, it was really awesome having you on. You added so much to the conversation. You made us sound smarter, and not that that's difficult to do, but you were able to do it, and you brought a lot to the film discussion. So I am appreciative for you joining us, and I know, there's something shrouded in secrecy, but if there's anything you want to promote or talk about, you have a platform to promote anything that you may want to. If there's nothing, that's also fine.
Well, well, I work for a comic book store. Read comic books. I'm going to promote reading comic
There you go.
books.
When's Free Comic Book Day? That's coming up, right?
That is coming up on May 7th. Yeah. So, and actually, they're back to regular schedule because they did Free Comic Book Day because of COVID. They had to have it in August last year, and never again. Our guests were sweating up a storm in August.
Oh my God.
It's so hot. I'll never forget that. We had to bring in fans and for our guests. We always have guest creators for Free Comic Book Day, and we had to put fans on them. It was rough. But now it's back to May, thank goodness, because that was a hot day. And everything else too. Record Store Day is coming up as well because we sell records too, and that is April 23rd. And stick around to watch the. Anyways, if you're paying attention to Worcester News and if you're looking at comic book stores, you'll want to keep a close eye because April is going to be a big month of. The store I work at is celebrating their big 40th anniversary. It's actually belated, and we're going to have big guests, so stick around. We'll be putting around. I'm sure you'll see it.
Awesome. That's really cool. So if you guys know, if you're in the know, go visit Mina and say hello. Rocky says, love you guys and thanks. He says, Mina makes the show almost classy, so give her the keys and let her drive.
Nice.
Give me
Much
the keys.
love.
Give me the keys, you fucking cocksucker.
Well, I was thinking weird science, but that also works. All
We're doing
right.
the same again, but yeah, it's fine.
Well, once again, Mina, thank you, and we'll definitely have to have a return engagement at some point later on if you would like to come back and join us.
Would love that. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you
Of course, of course. All right, let's go around and say our goodbyes, starting with Aries.
All right. You know what? You avoided me for 2 weeks, and now I'm back despite popular demand. So goodbye.
All right, Raven Shadow.
I love you, Aries.
Mina, thank you so much for showing up and giving some class to this program. And until next time, live fast, love hard, survive with your mask on.
Thanks, Raven. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, everyone. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, and once again, big thank you to Mina for hanging out and making us all sound a little bit smarter tonight. And also, our patron supporters, thank you to you guys. You keep the show going, so we appreciate you. Everyone who hung out for the live show, everyone who sent in a voice message, and also everyone who is going to listen to the podcast. We appreciate you guys so much. So thank you. And we'll be back next week with another mystery guest and a mystery movie we'll announce on social media. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll see you then.